Yes, ma'am.
Academic leadership anywhere in the world is a challenge, but academic leadership in the developing world and in countries like Pakistan is a whole new ball game for several reasons. For one, education is not a priority. Two, very little budgets, very small budgets are allocated to education. And that is why the grooming, capacity building of the academia just does not happen. And when they reach these top positions, they do that with very little experience, with very little training. Essentially, in societies which needs it the most, the whole idea that academic leadership is about mentorship, hand-holding, ownership building, grooming others just does not exist. It is actually usually translated as management, as middle line managers. That's how usually academic leaders behave, and which then does not allow the universities or seats of learning to grow the way they should. So I think there's a need for capacity building. There is a need to understand that academic leadership is very different from corporate leadership. My favorite sentence after years of being in the education sector is that, taking the faculty forward or making the faculty do things that you really want them to do is like herding cats, which essentially means that, which is also good, they're people with independent minds, and I'm a true and firm believer of academic freedom, but at the same time, I think a lot needs to be done there. We need to take it seriously. We need to differentiate it from corporate leadership. And we also need to understand that the requirements, needs of academic leadership are very different from how it is understood and how it is delivered today. So any capacity building on that front is needed at all levels. International exposure for countries like Pakistan is extremely critical. Our schools even today function like high schools. The culture of research, the culture of knowledge creation is still new, and I think all of that has to be incorporated into university teaching, and it has to be, it's critical that we have a bottom-up approach and we have a top-down approach, and this will perhaps close the gap that exists in taking universities or making universities work the way they should to bring them at par to international standards. None of the universities have international rankings here. People are not aware of what are international rankings, what needs to be done to acquire that, what is a research culture, what is university teaching, what is university beyond the classroom. So I think these are things that the academic leadership needs to be groomed into, and they need to be factored in, and then finally the delivery will happen, which will change the fate of the developing world, especially for countries like Pakistan.